The automotive world has been turned upside down by a $5,000 electric vehicle from Africa that just outsold Tesla in emerging markets last quarter. This isn't a typo. $50000 buys a fully electric vehicle with 250 miles of range, proving that affordability and practicality can coexist in the EV market. While Elon Musk tweets about robot axis and Cybertrucks, an unknown manufacturer from Kenya is delivering what Tesla promised for years but never built: an EV for the masses. Elon Musk should be terrified because this isn't just another competitor. It's a complete reimagining of what an electric vehicle can be. Tesla's stock dropped 7% when these sales figures hit Wall Street last week, signaling a seismic shift in the EV landscape. The company that was supposed to democratize electric vehicles just got beaten at its own game by a startup most Americans have never heard of. This isn't just disrupting the EV market, it's rewriting the rules of global manufacturing, affecting everything from car prices to battery technology. What's happening in Kenya right now will influence how vehicles are built and priced for the next century, challenging legacy automakers and Silicon Valley giants alike. By the end of this video, you'll understand how this revolutionary vehicle works, why it's so affordable, and how you can get one before they sell out in America. The first shipment of 10,000 units is already 80% reserved, and they haven't even officially launched in the US yet. But the most shocking part isn't the price. It's how this African company solved EV problems that stumped Silicon Valley engineers for decades. Detroit, Tokyo, and even Tesla are scrambling to catch up to Nairobi's Mobius Motors, which didn't set out to build an electric vehicle but to solve a transportation problem. Founded in Nairobi in 2010, Mobius initially focused on rugged, affordable internal combustion vehicles for African roads. Before pivoting to EVs in 2019, we realized the entire Western approach to EVs was wrong, explains Mobius founder Joel Jackson, criticizing Tesla for adding unnecessary technology. Mobius engineers asked a simple but revolutionary question: what if we designed an EV from scratch for affordability rather than making an expensive vehicle cheaper? The result is the Mobius E1, a vehicle that shatters every convention of electric vehicle design with its minimalist approach. Instead of a complex skateboard platform with thousands of parts, the E1 uses a revolutionary monocoque design with just 370 components. For comparison, a Tesla Model 3 has over 10,000 parts, while the E1 weighs just 1,800 pounds, less than half of a Model 3, reducing battery requirements dramatically. The entire vehicle is built around efficiency and simplicity rather than luxury and complexity, a philosophy that Western manufacturers have ignored. Western manufacturers are selling smartphones on wheels, says Jackson, while we're selling affordable, practical transportation that happens to be electric. The performance metrics are shocking for a $5,000 vehicle. 250 miles of real-world range, 0 to 60 miles per hour in 8.7 seconds, and a top speed of 85 miles per hour. It fully recharges in 4 hours on a standard outlet and comes with a 10-year battery warranty, making it a viable option for daily commuting. When Car and Driver tested the E1 against a Tesla Model 3 in real-world conditions, both completed a 200-mile route with 20% battery remaining. The Tesla offered more luxury, but both vehicles performed the same essential function, moving people efficiently from point A to point B. The question everyone is asking, how is a $5,000 EV even possible when the cheapest Tesla Model 3 starts at $38,990? The answer reveals everything wrong with how Western manufacturers have approached electric vehicles, over-engineering, and unnecessary costs. The Mobius E1's price isn't marketing hype. It's the real drive it off the cost achieved by stripping away non-essential features. What you get is a 4-door 5-passenger vehicle with a 40 kilowatt-hour battery, 107 horsepower motor, regenerative braking, and basic driver assistance features. The interior isn't luxurious, but is surprisingly comfortable with durable fabric seats, washable rubber flooring, and a minimalist dashboard. There's no leather, no panoramic glass roof, number 17 inches touchscreen, just practical, functional transportation designed to last. We eliminated everything that doesn't directly contribute to the core function of the vehicle, explains Mobius chief engineer Wanji Kunjenga. This philosophy extends to manufacturing. The body panels are made from dent-resistant composite materials in just 4 major pieces. The battery pack uses a revolutionary cell architecture, requiring 60% less wiring and cooling infrastructure than conventional designs. Mobius achieves 95% manufacturing automation while using 70% fewer robots than a typical Tesla factory, cutting costs dramatically. Their production system, developed with Kenyan tech startups, uses AI-optimized assembly sequencing that maximizes human efficiency. Real owners report experiences that defy the vehicle's price point, with many saving hundreds monthly on fuel and maintenance. James Odambo, a Nairobi delivery driver, switched from a Toyota Corolla to the E1 6 months ago and saves $140 weekly on fuel. Sarah Mucha, a teacher in Mombasa, charges her E1 twice weekly at home and has never worried about range in daily use. Even in extreme conditions, the E1 performs well, maintaining 85% of its range in 95 degrees Fahrenheit heat with air conditioning running continuously. In Rwanda's mountainous regions, drivers report better than expected range due to the efficiency of regenerative braking. On downhill stretches, the 18-month reliability data shows failure rates below industry averages, proving that affordability doesn't mean sacrificing quality. The true game-changer behind Mobius's breakthrough is their revolutionary approach to battery technology, leaving Western manufacturers scrambling. While Tesla fights over limited lithium supplies, Mobius developed an iron-air matrix battery using abundant materials like iron, aluminum, and carbon. We couldn't compete in the lithium arms race, so we didn't try, explains Dr. Amara Kanthi, Mobius's battery technology director. This battery isn't as energy-dense as lithium-ion, but costs 90% less, requires no rare earth elements, and can be manufactured locally. The environmental benefits are profound. Mobius's battery uses virtually no water in production and creates zero toxic byproducts. MIT battery expert Dr. E.J. Zhang, who independently tested the system, was shocked by its durability. Just 8% capacity loss after 200,000 simulated miles. Mobius has already produced over $200,000 battery packs in Nairobi with costs below $60 per kilowatt-hour, half what Western manufacturers pay for lithium-ion. The implications extend beyond cars. Mobius is licensing its battery tech for renewable energy storage, solving intermittency Challenges at a fraction of current cost. Western companies spent billions trying to make lithium batteries marginally better, notes one energy analyst. While Mobius asked why we needed lithium at all, Mobius hasn't just reimagined the electric vehicle. It has revolutionized manufacturing with its distributed micro-manufacturing approach. Instead of massive gigafactories, Mobius operates 27 specialized micro-facilities across Kenya, each costing just $3 to $5 million to establish. The Western manufacturing model is fundamentally colonial, says Mobius COO Asai Okafor, criticizing centralized production and global resource extraction. Each microfactory employs 30 to 50 workers and can be scaled quickly by adding more locations, achieving full production in 4 to 6 months. Mobius's capital expenditure per vehicle is $1,200 compared to Tesla's $9,800, giving them an unbeatable cost advantage. Their labor cost per vehicle is $420 versus Tesla's $2,400, proving that automation doesn't have to eliminate human workers entirely. Legacy automakers have taken notice. GM sent a team to study Mobius's approach, and Toyota reportedly offered $2 billion for their manufacturing tech. The Western manufacturing model is broken, concludes Okafor, optimizing for everything except affordability. We've proven there's a better way. The numbers tell a shocking story. Mobius sold 217,000 vehicles in 18 months, captured 34% of the EV market in emerging economies, and achieved profitability in just 9 months with a 42% gross margin, double Tesla's 21%. Mobius is an existential threat to established automakers struggling with bloated cost structures. In India, Mobius outsold Tata Motors EV's 3-call-1, and in Indonesia, it captured 41% of the market within a year of entry. We're witnessing the smartphone moment for EVs, explains analyst Sophia Chun, comparing Mobius to budget phones that democratize technology. Tesla shares have dropped 18% since Mobius announced U.S. expansion plans, while GM, Ford, and Stellantis face double-digit declines. Mobius isn't competing for luxury buyers. It's targeting the billions, entering the middle class who can't afford $40,000 Teslas. The disruption extends to commercial vehicles. Mobius's delivery vans and small buses are priced 70 to 80% below Western options. Ride-sharing companies like Go and SafeBoa have ordered tens of thousands of vehicles which pay for themselves in fuel savings within months. Global investors are betting big. Mobius recently raised $850 million at a $12.4 billion valuation led by sovereign wealth funds. We're creating mobility access for billions ignored by Western manufacturers, says founder Jackson, framing it as a global transformation. Mobius is coming to America next year with a strategy that bypasses dealerships, cutting $2,400 per vehicle in distribution costs. Instead of traditional showrooms, they'll partner with retail chains for 200 experience centers, with vehicles delivered directly to customers in 14 days. To navigate U.S. regulations, Mobius will initially classify its vehicles as neighborhood EVs, then offer speed upgrades at certified centers. The U.S. lineup includes the $5,000 E1 basic 150 miles range, the $7,200 E1 plus 250 miles, and the $8,400 E1 utility cargo configuration. Pre-orders have already hit 37,000. Without marketing, and Mobius plans to deliver 100,000 vehicles in its first 12 months stateside. Legacy automakers are fighting back. Ford has filed regulatory challenges and GM is lobbying for stricter safety requirements to block Mobius. Tesla is reportedly developing a subdoll 2000 model to counter the threat, but it may be too late to match Mobius's cost structure. The legacy players are terrified, says journalist Robert Chen, because they can't match Mobius pricing with their current models. Despite industry resistance, consumer demand is overwhelming. Mobius's waiting list grows by 1,200 vehicles daily, creating political pressure. Driving the E1 feels surprisingly normal. It's not luxurious or high-tech, but it's comfortable, reliable, and perfectly suited for daily commuting. With 68 dB cabin noise at highway speeds comparable to a Toyota Corolla and simple charging from a standard outlet, it requires no lifestyle changes. Maintenance is minimal. No oil changes, no spark plugs, just annual battery checks and tire rotations, costing $80 to $120 per year. The E1 boasts a 99.7% uptime rate with most issues resolved via over-the-air updates thanks to its simplified mechanical design. Service is handled through partnerships with auto parts retailers with mobile units capable of replacing drivetrain components in 90 minutes. The limitations: 85 miles per hour top speed, basic interior, fewer tech features are intentional trade-offs to achieve the revolutionary $5,000 price. I don't need my car to be a status symbol, explains a Rwanda owner. Just reliable, affordable transportation. The E1 does that perfectly. What's happening in Kenya isn't just another automotive story. It's a fundamental reshaping of transportation for the global majority. Mobius has proven that EVs don't need to cost $40,000 or rely on complex charging networks. Simplicity and affordability are possible. Their decentralized, sustainable manufacturing model challenges a century of industrial dogma, offering a blueprint for the future. For consumers, affordable electric mobility is no longer a distant promise. It's arriving next year at a price that makes sense for nearly everyone. For investors and automakers, Mobius represents both a warning and an opportunity. Adapt or risk irrelevance in the new EV economy. The future of transportation isn't being written in Silicon Valley or Detroit anymore. It's emerging from Nairobi, and it costs just $5,000. The rise of Mobius Motors and its $5,000 electric vehicle marks more than just a competitive shift in the automotive industry. It represents a fundamental rethinking of transportation, manufacturing, and economic accessibility on a global scale. For decades, the electric vehicle market has been dominated by Western and East Asian manufacturers who prioritized high-performance luxury models, assuming that affordability would come later. Through economies of scale, Mobius has shattered that assumption by proving that EVs can be both affordable and high quality from the outset, bypassing the traditional trajectory of technological adoption. This isn't merely a business success story. It's a case study in how innovation flourishes when it emerges from necessity rather than excess. The implications of Mobius's model extend far beyond the automotive sector, offering lessons for industries ranging from renewable energy to consumer electronics. At its core, the Mobius E1 is a rejection of the idea that advanced technology must be expensive, complex, or tied to a specific geographic hub like Silicon Valley. By designing for affordability, first, Mobius has inadvertently exposed the inefficiencies and unnecessary costs embedded in Western manufacturing and corporate structures. Tesla, for all its innovation, remains shackled by legacy auto industry thinking, massive factories, high overhead, and a reliance on premium pricing to sustain profitability. Mobius, in contrast, has shown that small-scale distributed manufacturing can achieve better margins while employing more people and reducing environmental impact. This challenges the prevailing economic dogma that consolidation and gigafactories are the only path forward in high-tech industries. The success of Mobius also highlights a growing divide in global markets. While Western consumers are sold on ever more expensive EVs with features they rarely use, the rest of the world simply needs reliable, affordable transportation. This divide explains why Mobius has found such rapid success in emerging economies where consumers are far more price-sensitive and less swayed by brand prestige. The fact that Mobius outsold Tesla in these markets isn't just a fluke. It's a sign that the future of mobility will be shaped by frugal engineering, not just cutting-edge tech. One of the most revolutionary aspects of Mobius's approach is its battery technology, which sidesteps the lithium supply chain entirely in favor of more abundant, cheaper materials. This could have seismic implications for the global energy sector, as lithium shortages and geopolitical tensions have long been a bottleneck for EV adoption. If iron-air batteries prove scalable beyond vehicles into grid storage, for example, they could disrupt the entire renewable energy storage market. Mobius's success also raises uncomfortable questions for legacy automakers and policymakers in the West, where EV adoption has been slow due to high costs. For years, governments have subsidized expensive EVs for wealthy buyers, assuming that prices would eventually drop enough for mass adoption. Mobius has demonstrated that affordability doesn't have to wait. It can be engineered from the start, without subsidies or tax credits. This undermines the argument that only massive government intervention can accelerate the transition to electric vehicles. The political ramifications are significant, as Mobius's model could force Western automakers to either adapt or face irrelevance in the world's fastest-growing markets. Already Ford, GM, and Tesla are scrambling to develop cheaper EVs, but their cost structures make it nearly impossible to compete at Mobius's price point. This isn't just about manufacturing efficiency. It's about an entire corporate mindset that prioritizes shareholder returns over affordability and accessibility. Mobius, as a privately held company with sovereign wealth backing, doesn't face the same quarterly profit pressures that force Western automakers into short-term thinking. This allows them to prioritize long-term market capture over immediate margins, a strategy that could reshape the industry in ways Wall Street hasn't yet grasped. The cultural implications are equally profound. Mobius's rise signals a shift in technological leadership from the West to emerging economies. Just as China revolutionized high-SPE speed rail and mobile payments, Africa is now proving that it can lead in sustainable transportation. This challenges the outdated notion that innovation flows only from rich nations to poor ones rather than the other way around. Mobius's expansion into the U.S. will be a litmus test for whether Western consumers are willing to embrace simplicity over status in their vehicles. Early indicators suggest strong demand with over 37,000 pre-orders before any official marketing, a sign that affordability trumps brand loyalty for many buyers. If Mobius succeeds in America, it could trigger a domino effect, forcing automakers to slash prices and abandon bloated feature sets that consumers don't truly need. The environmental impact of Mobius model cannot be overstated. By making EVs affordable for billions, they could accelerate the decline of internal combustion engines faster than any policy mandate. Unlike Tesla, which caters to elites, Mobius has the potential to decarbonize transportation at the grassroots level, particularly in developing nations where 2- and 3-wheelers dominate. This bottom-up approach to sustainability may prove more effective than top-down regulations that focus on luxury markets. The company's distributed manufacturing model also reduces carbon footprints by minimizing shipping and enabling local production, a stark contrast to the globalized supply chains of traditional automakers. Looking ahead, the biggest challenge for Mobius will be scaling without losing its core advantages: simplicity, affordability, and agility. History is littered with disruptors who became victims of their own success, bloating into the very incumbents they once challenged. Mobius must resist the temptation to add unnecessary features, raise prices, or centralize production as it grows. If it can maintain its discipline, it has the potential to become the first truly global car company of the 21st century, serving both rich and poor markets with the same basic product. The long-term vision could extend beyond cars. Mobius's manufacturing and battery tech might be adapted for buses, trucks, and even energy storage systems, creating a vertically integrated mobility ecosystem. This would position Mobius not just as a car company, but as a foundational player in the transition to a sustainable economy. For consumers, the takeaway is clear. The era of overpriced, overcomplicated EVs is ending, and a new age of accessible, practical electric mobility is beginning. For investors, Mobius represents both a threat and an opportunity. The threat of disruption to legacy automakers and the opportunity to back a company redefining an entire industry. For policymakers, the lesson is that innovation can't be dictated from the top down. It often emerges from the margins, solving real problems for real people. The Mobius story is far from over. But one thing is already certain: the future of transportation won't be built in Detroit, Tokyo, or Silicon Valley alone. It will be built wherever ingenuity meets necessity. And right now, that place is Nairobi. The $5,000 electric car isn't just a product. It's a manifesto for a more inclusive, sustainable, and pragmatic approach to technology. And that may be the most disruptive innovation of